It is wild card weekend in the NFL, baby. Plus, the latest buzz on the NFL coaching carousel. We're talking about that and much more. Cole Thompson joins me. It's the Jake Asman Football Show, and it starts right now.
Oh, yeah. It's time for the Jake Asman Football Show. Brought to you by BetUS. Expert betting odds and fantasy stats. So let's get into some NFL football. Brought to you by our friends at BetUS. So get your questions ready. Here's your host, Jake Asman.
Here we go. Wild card weekend is upon us. Plus, by the way, another college football semifinal game this evening. If you want to bet on that game or any of the games that you will hear Cole Thompson and I opining on in just a bit, make sure you use BetUS as your official sports book. They are my go-to. They should be yours as well. Sign up now and get a 150% sign-up bonus with your first deposit and a 125% bonus with your second and third deposits. All the lines we referenced during today's show are from BetUS, so check it out if you haven't already. Joining us right now in his weekly Friday spot on the Jake Asman Football Show is our dear friend Cole Thompson, who tomorrow will be getting ready for the Houston Texans Invitational as the Texans play what seemingly is their annual first playoff game of Wild Card Weekend in that coveted 4:30 Eastern time slot. Hello, Cole. Happy Friday.
Who is Beast? I keep seeing Beast's name appear. Who is this guy?
A lot of people want you to talk to the Beast Breaker, but we don't do calls on this show, so you're going to have to join a Jake Asman Jet show, and you'll find out.
Here's the good news. Very soon, I will be joining a Jake Asman Football Show because we got the draft
season
right around the corner. We got the draft, baby. Pick number 7, and I'm going to piss off people. It's going to be a fun weekend. For me, we get Texas tonight to potentially pull off one of the greatest upsets because everyone and their mother is picking Ohio State. We just watched as Notre Dame and Fighting Football Jesus came on down and beat James Franklin, which is inevitable. So I'm excited for this weekend. We get good matchups from Saturday to Sunday. We got a game this evening. There's a lot of things that we get to do, Jake. More importantly, the race to New Orleans, a place that you and I will be together, is underway starting tomorrow at 3:30.
That is right. All right, we will preview the playoff games, but let's just start with some coaching news. Mike McCarthy will be back with the Cowboys. They're working out a long-term deal. To me, this is a no-brainer. Where are you finding a better coach than McCarthy? I'm not saying he's great. Obviously, he needs to win there. We get it. But the guy did just come off 3 years in a row of winning 12 games or more. This year, they lose Dak, and they never quit on the guy. They finished playing reasonably well down the stretch. I think Mike McCarthy deserved to be back. I think this is the right move. Your thoughts?
I don't think it's the wrong move. Here's my question. Do you ever think that you can get to the Super Bowl? Because if you have a guy that's going into a contract year, and whether or not he goes 7-10, you can sit back and realize as you paint the big picture, do we have our guy that can lead us to that next level? This is a team that hasn't been to the NFC Championship game since 1995. This is a team that can't get out of its own way whenever it's the number 2 seed or the number 1 seed or the number 5 seed. Do you feel like that incompetence comes from the top? Is it in coaching? But regardless, they did play well down the stretch. They were able to mitigate their flaws. Finishing 7-10 with a Cooper Rush-led offense is not the worst thing out there. They made some games competitive. They were in the fight. They never seemed to drop on out. And also, did you think that there was an opportunity for you to hire one of the big-time names that you thought was a potential upgrade? Was Aaron Glenn coming on down? Was Ben Johnson coming on down? Was Mike Vrabel going to pay attention to you? Were you going to see Bill Belichick turn down Chapel Hill and then leave for Arlington? Because if none of those things happen, then I understand. Maybe you go swing it one more time with Mike McCarthy. You think that this is a team that healthier next year, bring in a few new pieces, get the run game going, actually add in a legit running back and not just Rico Dowd for 1,000 yards. You're in a decent spot. The division is always up in the air for Dallas, for Philly. They can win it next season and it wouldn't be shocking. So I think it's a fine move. It's one that I would seriously consider long and hard, but it feels like Jerry's done that in between takes during his episode of Landman.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Cole Thompson. My name is Jake Asman. It's the Jake Asman Football Show. Hit that like button if you haven't already. All right, Cole. So now we know this, that the Raider job is available, both GM and coach. So you have the Jaguars, the Jets, Bears, Patriots, Saints, Raiders with open coaching positions. Your thoughts on the processes for these teams so far? We know the Jets have a huge expansive list. We know the Patriots, they don't. They spoke with Ben Johnson. They don't have any other interview scheduled. Feels like that's the obvious Mike Vrabel's spot, but with Vegas now needing a GM too, there's some thought, hey, Mike Vrabel, you could pick the GM you want to work with, buddy. Just your thoughts on where things are headed in regards to some of the coaching changes, coaching interviews that have been requested or have taken place so far.
Well, we know that Mike Vrabel wants a say on the GM, which I think does factor into Tom Brady having a voice inside that locker room in Las Vegas and inside the mission packed with a guy in God, why am I blanking today? Mark Davis ownership. So they got to be able to go ahead and decide what is the best course of action. Do we feel like that we can get somebody that will get a good understanding of developing players, but also somebody that we could beat out? But the same thing could go for a guy like Ben Johnson, who is probably going to interview for the Las Vegas job as well. I just didn't understand the reasoning for the firing of Tom Telesco, but if you want to have the same mindset and structure, I can get behind it a little bit more. When it comes to the Jets job, when it comes to the Patriots job, that's the one that you just got to monitor for Vrabel. He is a Patriot Hall of Famer. He is one of the greatest defensive players to be a part of that system. He's not a Belichick coach, but he comes from playing underneath Belichick. So he also understands what did work and what didn't work in Foxborough, which I think is a huge benefactor after a season that you just had. You went 3-4. You went 4-13. Nobody is going to say that is good enough in Foxborough, especially after the dynasty of a 2-decade run. So if you bring in the right coach and you feel like that he is the guy that will develop the talent most efficiently, offer him a contract and just go ahead and save face. The Jets is really interesting because they also need a head coach and GM coordination. Aaron Glenn feels like that he is going to be the runner-up for the pick. If you talk to people around the league, they think that not only is he a quality hire by any means, but also the fact that he has a backing in scouting is a really extra beneficiary, because if he can have a say on what works and what doesn't translate to both offense and defense for his system next season when they go into the draft. So there may be a player that isn't on the board or on the radar that most people are paying attention to that ends up becoming an all-pro because a guy like Aaron Glenn can scout out those little intricacies that make it better. And he's going to have a good say with what goes on with the GM, especially in free agency, because if he also knows what type of talent that he's looking for. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars job is the worst job out there. I'm going to stand on that for as long as humanly possible. I don't know who wants that job. I don't care who wants that job. I don't think that anybody should be touching that job so long as Trent Baalke is in the building. They had 45 days to hire a coach after the season ended, and they brought in Doug Peterson. Why did they have 45 days, Jake? Because of the dude that nobody wanted to work for was making the calls inside. Trent Baalke is an abysmal GM. He is an asshole. Nobody wants to work with him. People cannot stomach his face. And the fact of the matter is, they're going to still be an incompetent franchise until they decide to let go of him. So the problem with that is, when we talk about when you fire a GM and you fire a coach, you do so usually at the same time, because if you feel like that you can be on the same wavelength, nobody is ever going to be on the same wavelength in Jacksonville, because if Shad Khan wants to hold out hope that Trent Baalke can be the guy, ultimately I think it's going to be a defensive coach, whether it be Brian Flores or maybe even Robert Saleh, who very well connected with that team. The Saints job is really challenging because of the cap space structure, and the Bears, they're making every single laundry list of personality out there to come on in, which I think is a bit too much. But you know what? Save face. Go ahead and make sure that you cross off every single little detail to land the right head coach, because this has been a dumpster fire of an organization since 2007. They got to bring in somebody that can stabilize the roster.
All right. Your gun to your head prediction. I'm going to say a team. You tell me where you think. You tell me who you think is the head coach. You ready?
Yeah.
Patriots.
Mike Vrabel.
Jets.
Aaron Glenn.
Jaguars.
Brian Flores.
Bears.
Ben Johnson.
Saints.
Surprise. Mike Kafka.
Mike Kafka. I don't know why everyone likes Mike Kafka so much.
I don't either. No, you know what's changed that? Matt Nagy.
Okay.
Matt Nagy.
And finally, Raiders.
Todd Monken.
Interesting.
Todd Monken.
All right. I think we hit all of them, right?
I think so.
That's 6, because McCarthy's back to Dallas. So it's Jaguars, Jets, Bears, Patriots, Raiders, Saints.
And then they didn't fire Callahan in Tennessee, which, again, I don't know why you fired Rand Carthon. He was a great GM. He just didn't have the pieces in play this year. Bad quarterback play. Get over it.
Is he a great GM, though?
If you landed 2 fortunate pieces to your offensive line, you made up for the loss of losing a guy in A.J. Brown. Maybe you overpaid a little bit for Calvin Ridley, but he still hit 1,000 yards. You replaced Derrick Henry with an 1,100-yard rusher and Tony Pollard, and you were able to keep under the cap space. I mean, I thought that he was not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is Amy Adams-Strunk. And it's an incompetent organization that wants to stay incompetent.
I agree. I think what Tennessee did is going to hurt them because what GM wants to go there and have to inherit a coach they didn't hire. It's just it's these teams are so stupid with how they handle themselves. But hey, that's neither here or there. All right, before we get to the playoff games, let's hit on the news out of Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, who you and I know well, he suffered a torn Achilles again, second surgery in 3 months on his Achilles. Cole, I don't know, one, if he's ever going to play again, but two, if he does, is there any chance of him ever being the guy we saw in Houston? That feels like right now the worst trade in NFL history, given the amount of first-round picks they gave up and the fully guaranteed $230 million contract they're now stuck with that impacts their cap going forward. Absolutely brutal for the Browns, for Watson. And look, Cleveland's got that number 2 pick. I'd be shocked if they don't take a quarterback, whether it's Ward or Shador, when it's all said and done.
They could take a quarterback, but that's not going to solve every issue. And if they're not in love with a quarterback this year, maybe you trade for one and just kind of go back to the process of hoping that you get enough done to make a playoff run. But to me, it's the worst trade of all time because of what you just said, the guaranteed money. No team was ever offering that type of contract to Deshaun Watson. And ultimately, Jimmy Haslam decided to make that move because he wanted to go bring in a quarterback for the long haul. He wanted to make sure that he stabilized his roster in his image because Carolina wasn't offering that. New Orleans wasn't offering that. Atlanta wasn't offering that. So you had to go ahead and get the right draft capital. That draft capital eventually turned into Will Anderson, CJ Stroud, and a slew of other players who now have put together back-to-back 10-win seasons out in Houston. He's played 19 games in a span of 3 years. Jake, that's not sustainable to think that you're ever going to be even close to what you were before. But more importantly, when he's played in those 19 games, he's been abysmal. He's been inaccurate. He's put his team in harm's way. He has put his team on the ladder to where they find a way to fumble the bag. He has been the only consistent thing about his tenure in Cleveland is that he has been disastrous. And now you get an Achilles injury that's going to cost you another year. How do you think that you're going to turn the corner in 2026? How do you think that after missing a full season in 2021, a full 7 games in 2022, torn ACL, ruptured Achilles, second ruptured Achilles, that you're ever going to be back to the same pace? Ultimately, the reason why he is going to be in Cleveland for 2026, if he is that Cleveland refuses to eat that type of dead cap space. The dead cap space in just that deal alone is going to be over $70 million for 2 more years until 2028. So you got to hold out hope. I mean, you got to think that maybe things would be better. Maybe he'll be a qualified backup. Maybe you'll be able to get somebody that kind of comes on in and thinks that they can revitalize his career, but he's done. In terms of what we have seen from him, he's no longer going to be a league leader in passing. He's no longer going to be a Pro Bowler. He's no longer going to be one of the better top half quarterbacks. And he single-handedly is probably the biggest reason why Cleveland is back in the dumps. Meanwhile, the 2 quarterbacks that they did have that led into the playoffs in Joe Flacco and in Baker Mayfield, one had his team into the postseason for a second consecutive year, and the other one didn't play as awful, but he finally kind of showed his age when it was 40 years old when he came in for Indianapolis.
Well, forget Flacco. I mean, that was just great coaching by Stefanski, but I mean, they had Baker. They moved on because they wanted the, quote, adult in the room when you bring in a guy with his alleged history and all the settlements he paid out to these women accusing him of stuff. And at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson's got a lot of money, but his career is officially tarnished, and they're taking a quarterback in Cleveland, regardless what happens with Deshaun. The question is just going to be which one. All right, we're going to get to the wild card.
Here's one for you. Do you trade for Joe Milton? Because that's going to be a disaster in itself.
I would not. If I'm them, I'm taking Shador.
I can't believe we're really going to go back into this Joe Milton shit. I can't do it. One game, and now we're going to turn him into Matt Flynn. Congratulations, who decides to trade for him this offseason.
I don't even know if he's going to be traded. Why not just make him the backup to Drake May for another year?
Because they can get a 4th round pick for him, and they got him in the 4th round.
I don't think anyone's giving them a 4th round pick for Joe Milton.
Watch the Raiders or the Browns trade for him. Just watch. I'm telling you. I just have this gut feeling. One game, they'll think that he's safe.
Save the tape if it happens. All right, wild card weekend, Cole. Dun, dun, dun. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to update how we normally make picks on this show. We're going to, instead of making 3 picks, we're just going to pick every playoff game from here on out. It's our way of basically being able to preview each game on the NFL playoff slate and making sure that we still can give you picks. So let me update the overall standings here. Cole Thompson with a 2-1 week is now 28-20 on the season. Me, Jake Asman, with a 2-1 week is now 25-22-1 on the season. So Cole is up 3 games in the win column, 2 in the loss column. And since I have the push, it's going to come down to winning percentage. But we're now picking, as of this weekend, every single playoff game the rest of the way. So things are going to get wild. Things are going to get crazy. And Cole, we're going to start it off with a game that you will be at tomorrow afternoon. The Houston Texans Invitational. Chargers at Texans. The line in this game is Chargers -3. Your pick, because you are in first place in our standings. You go first. You get to make your pick first. Go ahead.
There's just so much about this game that feels like Houston is going to put it all together for the first time in 2024. They're going to be in a great position. They have the morale. They have the victory coming off of a 9-point win against Tennessee. But I just look at what Los Angeles' offense is this year, what Los Angeles can be when it comes to throwing the football, especially if you get to Ladd McConkey. He is number 3 with Justin Herbert in the most passing yards per EPA this season. The only 2 that are better in quarterback duos is Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, and I believe it's Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff. That's it. So this has been a godsend for the second-round pick, and also they did a great job of building up their offensive line, especially on the outside. I just trust the tackle position a little bit more with Los Angeles. I just trust the defense inside the red zone a little bit more from Jesse Minter. I'm going to go with Los Angeles getting a win. I think Los Angeles is the most dangerous team in the playoffs as a dark horse. They can go on a deep run if they don't shoot themselves in the foot. Give me not only the -3, but I'm also thinking they're going to win by 10 points. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
You sure?
Uh-huh. I'm sure.
You sure you like the Chargers?
I'm sure I like the Chargers.
Well, guess what? I like the Texans. Head to head.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Look, everyone is picking the Chargers. Everyone sees Harbaugh. They're just going to pick the Chargers. I think the Chargers are good. I really believe that. But the Texans are home. They're getting 3. I think Houston's going to give them a game. Everyone's taking the Chargers, so I'm fading the public and you. I don't know. I think Houston plays a big game here. They won in this spot last year, blew out the Browns. I get it. The Chargers are a better team. But I'm in. I'm in on the Texans, Cole. Texans +3. Maybe the Chargers win, but I'm getting 3 points for a team at home. Give me Houston.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst one. I do think that this will be one of the more, I would say, intimidating back and forth games that we will get this weekend. I think that this is one of the better ones. Definitely a must-see
you have the
matchup.
Chargers winning by 10, I thought you just said.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, they pull away. Pull away. Watch it be a 4-quarter battle, and then you just get Ladd McConkey off to the races. And Cameron Dicker, the kicker, gets to go ahead and make a big-time kick.
Head-to-head, baby. Head-to-head. Here we go. All right, Cole, game number 2 for you.
What's the line? You never told me the line.
We're going to do Steelers, Ravens. Line is 9.5. Ravens favorite.
I can't. Okay. The offense is awful. Can we just admit it at this point? The offense for the Steelers is awful. They haven't been able to find a consistent number 2 receiver, but 9 points is a lot. I get it. I know it's going to be in Baltimore. I know it's going to be a matchup to where you get to go ahead and see maybe Mike Tomlin pull a couple tricks out of his bag. What's going to be Lamar Jackson? I'm going to take the 9 points. I think it's just too outrageous for a playoff game, but there's just something about this offense headlined by Baltimore with now you would get with Derrick Henry, what you've gotten for the tight end play, especially with guys like Isaiah Likely stepping on up. I definitely think that if you can get a good time play with Rashad Bateman across the middle of the field, that's going to make this passing attack that much more dangerous. I'm going to take the Ravens. I think if they win by a touchdown, I think that they're going to be one of the better teams. I'm going to say, though, give me the +9.
Cole, we were head-to-head on the first game. We are a family play
for
this one. Mike Tomlin as an underdog. It has burned me the last couple times. But I like Pittsburgh to not just bow out, losing 4 in a row to end the year, then be non-competitive in their one playoff game. Look, Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, 6 career touchdowns, 6 career interceptions. He has not been the same guy. He has all the pressure in the world on him. He does not play those Steelers great in his career. The Steelers have beaten the Ravens this year. I think Pittsburgh makes this a real game. I got to take Mike Tomlin getting 9.5 points. I think it's a competitive game in the fourth quarter. So I'm taking the Steelers here. So we are aligned with this one.
Just divisional play in the playoffs. 9 is way too much. Way too much.
Broncos at Bills. First game on Sunday. Buffalo, a 9-point favorite in this game at home. Cole, your pick.
I love Bo Nix. I was wrong on Bo Nix. He's not just a check down merchant. He makes some throws that are really awesome. But it's Josh Allen's year. Josh Allen to me is the MVP. What Josh Allen has done this season is second to none out in Buffalo. I think of the offense having a break last week, not playing for starters against New England in a meaningless game. I'm going to say that they come out swinging. They want to make a statement. They want to prove to the world that they are just as good, if not better than better than Kansas City, better than Baltimore. Unfortunately, Denver's in their way. Congratulations on breaking your playoff curse, but this is where the dream comes to die. I'm taking Buffalo. I'm taking the points.
I'm with you. I just can't see Buffalo losing this game, and I can't see Denver truly winning this game. And the way I'm kind of thinking about these spreads in my head, if I'm going to take an underdog, I have to picture the path for them to actually win the game, and I just can't see it. So I think Buffalo, maybe it's a game for a half. They pull away late, and they're going to cover the 9-point line. So I'm with you there. All right, Packers on the road at the Link against the Eagles. Line is Eagles, 5.5-point favorites. 11-6 Green Bay, 14-3 Philadelphia. Cole, your pick for this game on Fox on Sunday at 4:30.
Well, now you're getting back Jalen Hurts. So if you get the Jalen Hurts that played inadequate last year in the postseason, I think that they lose this game. But I just don't like where Green Bay is. They had a terrible offensive performance last week against the Bears. I know they went to Malik Willis, but still, you could have had an easier playoff path if you just would have won. If you played with Jordan Love, you're going to be without your speed threat and Christian Watson on the outside. I don't like the passing attack currently right now out in Green Bay. I think that you're going to rely too heavily on Romeo Doubs. I think defensively, you've taken a little bit of a step back. As much as I want to say that Philadelphia is going to self-implode at some point, it won't be this weekend. Give me the Eagles. Give me the points.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Thompson and I are head to head. Sound
really?
I like Green Bay getting 5.5. I could see them winning. I look, Philadelphia is really good, but last year's Jordan Love in the playoffs showed me a lot. I feel like Green Bay has a legit chance to pull off the upset here. I don't know what Jalen Hurts is going to be coming off this concussion. And it's not like he's been dominant this year like he was a few years ago when he was in the MVP discussion. I truly believe Green Bay has a chance. There's always a road team that wins wild card weekend. Always. And I feel like Green Bay can potentially be that team. So I like Green Bay laying the 5.5. And I think they got a good chance to win outright. So, getting the 5.5, I should say. I'm getting points. I think this is a game that could be decided by a field goal one way or another. So I'll take the points, and I will take the Packers with my plus 5.5, Mr. Thompson.
Come on, man. No, stop it. Stop it. I mean, good for you. Trust me. I wish I was that bold. I'm not that bold to do it. Can't do it. All right, what's next?
Commanders at Buccaneers. This game is the final game of the Sunday slate, 8 p.m. on NBC. Tampa Bay, a 3-point favorite at home against the Commies.
This is the one that I'm most intrigued in. I really am. When you talked about a team getting an upset on the road, this is the one I feel like could happen. Because of Jaden Daniels, if they can just keep the passing attack going, they're going to be in a world of hurt. I mean, watch last week how bad Tampa Bay's secondary was against Spencer Rattler. This was one of those games that I think could be back and forth. It could be explosive. The thing for me is that I just like Baker Mayfield. I think that Baker is one of the most disrespected quarterbacks currently in the NFL. If you don't enjoy watching him, maybe you should just go make TikToks instead of trying to go ahead and act like an NFL draft analyst. But I do believe this is going to be a back and forth battle. I do believe this is going to be a shootout of senses. Mike Evans goes off. Terry McLaurin goes off. I think you're going to see a lot of good moves from Bucky Irving and Brian Johnson out of the backfield, Brian Robinson out of the backfield. I'm going to say that as much as I want to take the Commanders, give me the Bucs. The line's at 3, right?
Line is at 3, correct.
Yeah, I'm going to take the line too. I'm going to take the points too. I think that they're going to be just getting by the skin of their teeth. They're going to be in the divisional round.
So you like the Commanders? I want to clarify.
I like the Bucs.
So you like the well, you said
I like the Bucs. Yeah,
you said take the points. That's why I was confused.
My bad. No, give me the points. Give me the points. Yeah.
You're saying lay the points.
Lay the points. Yes.
You don't need them. You like Tampa Bay to.
I like Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay to win by a field goal. Okay, I like Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay to win by a touchdown.
You're banking on a push, which you can't do, but a push is better than an L.
I'm banking on a touchdown late in the game to where we're going to watch an anytime score from Mike Evans. They're going to win by 7. That's what I'm saying. There we go.
Yeah, fifth time's the charm there. Well done.
There we go. Maybe
well, Cole,
7.
I got some news for you. We are aligned. I like Tampa here too. I just like Mayfield in this spot better than Jaden Daniels in his playoff debut. Tampa won a playoff game a year ago. I don't feel great about this one. If you told me Washington won, I wouldn't be surprised. There's always a road team that wins, so maybe this could be Washington's time. But we are aligned here. Bucs -3. That is my pick as well. One last game to go. Vikings at Rams. However, worth noting, as you see on the screen, this game originally supposed to be played in Los Angeles will not be because of the wildfires out in LA. So sending obviously well wishes to everyone affected by that. But they have announced this game will be moved to Glendale in Arizona. So where the Cardinals play will now be where the Rams and Vikings play. The line for this game on Monday night, last game of Wild Card Weekend, is Vikings -3. So the Vikings, the quote-unquote road team favorite in this one. Cole, your pick for Vikings at Rams.
This is a game that I think has to be won by Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold cannot be the reason why this team loses. You can't trust the run game. You can't trust the defense. I want to see Sam Darnold ball it on out. Because remember, we're talking about him being one of the most sought-after quarterbacks this free agency cycle, whether it's by Minnesota, whether it's by Cleveland, whether it's by Las Vegas. He wants to get paid. I just don't believe in him. And I told you there was going to be an upset. Give me the Los Angeles Rams for their city, for their team, for their love out in California. To all those who are being affected, us here, Jake Asman, Cole Thompson, we appreciate everything that you have. We wish you nothing but the best. We hope that you're able to stay safe during this tragic time, but hopefully your spirits are lifted, because not only do the Chargers win, but the Rams win. And Sam Darnold goes into free agency because if he is the reason this team loses, Minnesota, once again, overrated. I love what this Rams team is doing. I think their defense is underrated. I think their offense is underrated. I think they're going to be a perfect fit. I love this matchup for Los Angeles. They get a win.
We agree. I'm with the Rams here. I love the Rams in the spot. They rested all their guys last week. McVay is a proven playoff coach. Stafford is a proven playoff quarterback. I think the fact that the Rams are dealing with what they're dealing with, I think almost maybe provides like some more motivation for them. Like they're playing, they feel like, for the city, which I like. So Rams, look, they're supposed to be at home, but they don't really have a home field advantage anyway. So in a weird way, it's almost better for them to be playing in Arizona in a neutral site game. I think that benefits the team with the better coach. And as much as O'Connell's awesome, better coach, better quarterback, I believe, is McVay and Stafford here. So I like the Rams in this spot too. I feel like if I had to bet on one underdog winning this weekend, I really like the Rams in this spot. I feel good about their chances here.
I feel really good about the Rams' chances. And also their offense, if you go back and watch it from like week 13 on, it has been one of the more dangerous ones when the passing attack is there and they can run the football. If Minnesota can't stop the run, they're going to be in a lot of trouble in Arizona.
I agree. Damn. So to recap here, I believe we have the same picks for every game but two.
Yeah.
You're on the Chargers. I'm on the Texans.
Yep.
We're both on the Steelers.
We are.
We're both on the Bills.
We are.
You're on the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Packers.
Yep.
We're both on Tampa, and we're both on the Rams.
Yes.
So I only have a chance to potentially gain 2 games on you in those 2 games in our standings here.
You know, it's a smart ploy for me because remember, we're going all the way through the postseason, so that way I can win that steak dinner. So if you lose, I lose. So I'm playing smart this time, Jake.
Well, you got to keep going first, though. So that does give me a chance eventually at the end to just start fading you, even if we agree. I don't need to do it yet, but I'm keeping that in the back of my mind that I could eventually fade you here with it if I have no chance of coming back. If that's the only way.
I'm starting to think I should let you tie me. That way you can pick first because you win the week, and that way I know if I can fade you. Starting to think about that.
Very interesting. If you want to bet on any of the games you heard us preview, BetUS. They are my go-to sports book. They are Cole's go-to sports book. And they should be yours too. Sign up today and enjoy the benefit of a 150% sign-up bonus. Real quick, Cole, before we head out of here, who you got tonight, Texas or the Buckeyes?
With a game-winning field goal, give me Texas.
Wow.
With their kicker. Give me Texas.
You like Hook'em, the Horns.
I like Bert Auburn, who is a Flower Mound native, which is about 25 miles outside of Arlington, who has missed 2 incredibly bad field goals. Bad field goals last week in the Peach Bowl. Come back, get redemption in front of his hometown crowd. Like it. Hook 'em.
How come? There you have
How
it.
come?
I think Ohio State wins, but
Yeah, I can see it. I can.
but I have no real rooting interest. We'll see who I bet on. I'm seeing at BetUS right now the line is 6.5 in favor of the Buckeyes.
Nah, I'm taking Texas +6. 100% taking Texas +6.
He's Cole Thompson. My name is Jake Asman. This has been another Jake Asman football show. We'll be back 1 week from today with Cole. I'll be back earlier in the week to talk about the latest in the NFL with the coaching searches, the playoff ramifications, that and much more. Once again, thanks to everyone who tuned in. For Cole Thompson, my name is Jake Asman saying, have a good weekend, everybody. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you next time on the Jake Asman Football Show presented by BetUS.
Later.